It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops. Goulet!
The Golden State Warriors are NBA champions. You're listening to Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, joined as always by the man, the myth, the legend, the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi. How's it going, brother?
It's going great. Glad to be back here.
Excellent. Free agent frenzy is officially on. We've got NBA champions, and of course Luke Ridnour just traveling across the league, signing and playing with every team possible in the past week. It's crazy. Let's talk about the NBA Finals. Let's kick it off with the little Golden State Warrior talk. What are your thoughts about the NBA Finals?
Steph Curry. That's all needs to be said. That guy is just a chef. Is that what they call him? A chef.
They call him Chef Curry.
He's just always cooking it up, getting those points. That's how he does.
NBA Finals, I think the Cavs put up... the Cavs didn't really put up a good fight. LeBron James put on one of the best finals performances in history.
Honestly, if you're a LeBron hater, I don't see how you can hate him after these playoffs. Just carrying this whole Cavs D-League team to the final. It's incredible.
Basically what he did. Now, are you a little bit surprised? Some people are saying that LeBron should have been named Finals MVP, even though the Cavs lost. Obviously, one of my favorite players, Andre Iguodala, I was psyched when he won the Finals MVP. Do you think LeBron should have been awarded that honor?
Well, that's a great debate, but I just think... if it went to 7 games, and maybe LeBron James would have gotten it, but I think just the fact that the Warriors won in 6, that you just had to give it to a Warriors player, and Iguodala was clearly their best player on the team in that finals. And he got it.
Well, yeah, Steve Kerr calls Iggy his smartest player, and I don't really disagree with that. Iguodala's defense is amazing. Obviously, it's a little tough to keep LeBron James under control, but I think Iguodala did a great job playing defense and hitting some big shots and putting up some solid numbers during the finals. I was so happy for him because I've been a fan of Iguodala since he was wearing number 4 back in Philadelphia, his rookie season.
I think Cavs they probably would have won the championship if Irving was healthy. But that's just how sports goes. Not everyone is healthy.
Yeah, injuries are definitely a big thing. It sucked to see Kyrie Irving go down with an injury in Game 1. I would have liked to see more of an even, fair fight between the Cavs and Warriors. But like you said, that's just the way it goes. Players get hurt. That's the world of sports. And it would have been nice to see Golden State win the NBA championship in Oakland at Oracle Arena. But again, sports is a interesting world. So they won it in Cleveland and returned to Oakland as the heroes. So that was kind of cool. But it would have been neat to see this series go to 7 games. I was kind of hoping for 7 games just because I like watching basketball. But I'm happy that Golden State won. That's who I was rooting for. I wouldn't have been overly upset if the Cavs had won the NBA championship, but I was definitely going for Golden State on this one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just going on Golden State just because Stephen Curry, that guy is just butter, as you can say. You just watch him play, and it's incredible. The way he makes these shots look so easy.
Effortless. It's crazy. Fantastic run for the Golden State Warriors. Big kudos to them for winning it all. I'm really happy that the Golden State Warriors won it. And Steph Curry, he's already one of the best players. He's one of the best players in the world, but you could say he's one of the best players in NBA history already with just the performance he put on this season. Unbelievable.
He's gonna go down as probably the best shooter in NBA history.
Yeah, he's already destined for the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
But LeBron James, I think LeBron's going to get at least one more championship in his illustrious career, his future Hall of Fame career. Looking at LeBron James, let's jump in a little bit to the free agent frenzy because LeBron James is an unrestricted free agent this offseason. I'm thinking he's going to stay in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. He's just opting out of his deal so that he can get more money.
He would be a fool to leave the Cavaliers. It wouldn't
That
really...
would that would look really bad.
Exactly. It wouldn't look good on him. It wouldn't make any sense. And some people are already projecting that the Cavs are going to go to the finals again next year. Some people are saying they're going to win the NBA championship next year. I think that's looking way too far ahead because we're not even close to the NBA finals for next season because this year's finals just ended.
Let's just wait and see how free agency goes.
Exactly. Who do you think is going to pick up LaMarcus Aldridge? He's got a couple of meetings in line, including one with the Toronto Raptors, which I would love to see.
Okay, let's see. He's going to have a meeting with all three Texas teams, Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston. I believe those are the first three teams he's meeting. And then he's got a meeting with the Lakers. And then he's got two meetings with Eastern Conference teams, the Raptors and the Knicks.
Well, we could knock the Knicks out of there because who the hell wants to sign with the New York Knicks?
That's apparently the last team he's visiting.
Well, nothing against the city of New York, but it would be cool to play at Madison Square Garden, but they do not have anything put together at this time. I'm thinking... What's that?
Do you know who's going to be at the Spurs pitch to get Aldridge?
Tim Duncan?
Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich, and Tony Parker.
Well, that's a pretty good trio right there. You've got three Hall of Famers right there, three future Hall of Famers, one of the best coaches of all time, and two of the best players of all time.
Let's just see. He walks into a room with three amazing NBA championship coaches. Like, how do you just, like... That's what I'm worried about, him not coming to the Raptors. Just, what are the Raptors going to do? Like, who's going to be in their pitch? Wayne Gretzky?
Well, of course, they'll place Bruno Caboclo and Lucas Nogueira in the room.
Yeah, I heard Aldridge is fluent in Portuguese.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Sign him up, Toronto. Of course, we can go back to 2006. We drafted Andrea Bargnani. Number 2 was LaMarcus Aldridge. So
you gotta have this thought that maybe Aldridge is just meeting with the Raptors to tell them to go F themselves because they could have drafted him back in 2006, but they took that Italian guy.
I think Il Mago, they called him the Magician.
Il Mago, yeah.
Yes.
Andrea Bargnani.
Ah, yes, that guy from those Primo Pasta and Sauce commercials, right?
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aldridge just comes to the meeting and gives a middle finger and just walks out.
Just walks out, yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
But honestly, if he were to actually consider the Raptors, the Raptors would instantly be 1 or 2 the best teams in the East.
Oh, of course. That goes without saying. I'm not really holding my breath on Aldridge signing with the Toronto Raptors.
It's honestly a pipe dream.
I think he's probably going to go with either the Spurs or the Mavs. I don't think he's going to go to LA. I don't think he's going to go to Houston. I don't want him to go to Houston. I personally...
Think about Houston is they'd have to clear a lot of cap space and make a lot of trades just to sign them. Because they don't have the money. Lakers, I don't know. He could sign to Lakers.
Never know what could happen. But he's got those meetings in the near future. So
and Dallas is a huge possibility just because he's from there.
Exactly.
And Dallas might actually sign DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's being talked about that he'll sign a 4-year deal.
Wow.
With the Mavs, obviously, this is just speculation.
Oh, of course.
The rumor mill. Yeah, Aldridge, he's obviously the number 1 free agent.
Yeah, he's the big name this offseason, that's for sure. LeBron, as you're saying, obviously chances are he's going to stick with Cleveland.
And then we got Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, what do you think he's going to... I think he's going to stick it out and stay with Miami. I think Dwayne Wade's a guy who's going to retire as a Miami Heat.
At first, when I was hearing that he was going to opt out and he wanted $60 million for 3 years, at first I was like, he's not worth it. But to think how he left all that money for the Heat to sign LeBron and Bosh, I feel like you have to give him that just because those 4 straight finals appearances and those 2 championships.
No, totally.
I think he's earned that money. He might play 60 games a year, but he's a loyal guy to that franchise.
He is, and I would personally like to see him retire with that team.
Yeah.
It would just be a nice thing to see, because it's rare to see guys that stick out their entire career with one team. You know, obviously, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Spurs their entire career. That's fantastic to see.
Yeah, so I say Heat should just give him that 3-year, $60 million contract.
Bite the bullet and go for it. What about Marc Gasol? What do you think he's going to do? I think he's going to stay with Memphis. That makes the most sense.
Gasol's actually crossed out the Lakers. So, sorry, Lakers fans.
Well, they are the ones who traded him for his brother Powell. So,
and there was talk about the Knicks wanting him, but obviously he's not going to go there. So yeah, he's going to stay in Grizzlies.
He's going to stay with Memphis because it makes the most sense for the Grizzlies organization and for him personally, in my opinion.
Unfortunately, they just traded Luke Ridnour.
Well, one of 29 teams that traded Luke Ridnour. What's up with Luke Ridnour? What is happening with this guy? He's basically just like, he's like a board game piece. They're just moving him around. It's like Monopoly.
It's because his contract is like worth $3 million, I believe. And it's just like good thing to get rid of if you want cap space.
Oh, totally. I just want to read through his Wikipedia page right here. I will directly read off the Wikipedia page just to track his journey. On June 24th of this year, Ridnour was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies in exchange for the draft rights to Giannis Tima. The next day, the Grizzlies sent him to the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for Matt Barnes. And then, that day, he was traded again along with the 2016 second-round draft pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Jeremy Lamb. And on June 30th, for the 4th time in a week, Ridnour finally made it to Toronto to play with the Raptors, traded there along with cash considerations in exchange for the draft rights to Tomislav Zubcic. Big things for Luke Ridnour.
Honestly, whoever wrote that Wikipedia thing right there must have loved it.
Must have had a great time doing that. It's the thing is, it's not like Luke Ridnour is a terrible player. You look at his career stats over the course of his, he was drafted in 2003. So over the course of his 10+ years in the NBA, he's averaged 9.3 points, 1 steal per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 2.3 rebounds per game, with an 86 free throw percentage, 35 3-point field goal percentage, and 43% from the field. Then in the playoffs, 7.9 points per game, 3.3 assists, 2.4 rebounds per game in 3 playoff appearances with the Seattle Supersonics, who he was drafted by, Milwaukee Bucks, and with Charlotte.
I got to give him props for being in Seattle for 5 years to start off his career.
Oh, totally. Yeah, from 2003 to 2008, Seattle Supersonics.
And then just like that, in 5-6 days, he's on 4 teams.
Yeah, it's impressive, but maybe not in the best ways that you want something to be impressive.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll find a home to actually stay in until the trade deadline.
Oh, of course. Do you think he's actually going to stick with the Raptors, or do you think he's on the move again?
There's talk about him getting bought out, so that the Raptors could save even more money to get a prize free agent.
Could be. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Luke Ridnour on his epic journey throughout the NBA. So Luke Ridnour is now a member of the Toronto Raptors, but by the time you listen to this episode, Luke Ridnour may be a member of the Boston Celtics, or San Antonio Spurs, or Utah Jazz. We don't know where Ridnour is going to be. Or maybe he's going to stick with the Raptors. I wouldn't mind that. Do you want him to stay with the Toronto Raptors, or do you really care?
I think he's a good player, but I think the Raptors can get a better player if they want to get a backup point guard. Like right now, they got Lowry and DeLon Wright.
Yeah, DeLon Wright, NBA draft. I don't know too much about DeLon Wright. You know a little bit more than I do. Do you think that was a good draft choice for the Raptors?
I think once the Vasquez trade was announced, it was guaranteed that the Raptors were going to draft a point guard, and they basically took the best defensive point guard in the draft. Like, he was an All-American defensive player of the year. So, I guess it was either him or Tyus Jones of Duke. But seeing how Dwayne Casey's all about defense, he went with the more defensive player.
I like that. When you
He's
mentioned
a long point guard, too.
he is, and when you mentioned that to me, the whole fact that he's the best defensive point guard in the draft, that sold me. I don't know much about the kid, but best defensive point guard sounds great to me.
And another good thing about him is he's been around the NBA for the past 10 years because of his brother, Doro, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who currently just played for the Blazers.
Yeah, so he's got that influence right there.
He's been around the NBA for that long.
Exactly.
He's played in the Drew League with actually he's played with DeRozan and Amir Johnson.
Perfect. So he's got that connection already. He's already got that foundation built. So digging deeper and deeper into this, it's a really strong pick for the Raptors.
The only I don't know, bad thing is he's 23 years old, but that just means that he's more NBA ready.
Honestly, that's totally fine with me. 23, that's not that old, but
and he's not going to be a mentally weak person like Terrence Ross.
Oh my gosh! But first, before we talk about Terrence Ross, I don't know what you have to say about Terrence Ross right now, I'm just gonna do this for you. We gotta go na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye to Gravis Vasquez. How happy are you about Vasquez being traded away? I know you're getting sick and tired of Gravis Vasquez.
He had when he first got traded to Raptors, he was awful, and then he started to pick it up, like heading into the playoffs, and he had a great playoffs against the Nets. But then this whole entire 2014-2015 season, he was a disaster. He's actually probably the most unathletic NBA player I've ever seen in the guard area, not a center. But yeah, I don't know. You look at the guy and you can't fathom how he's an NBA player.
Very, very good points, and I hope he does well going forward in the future, because I liked Gravis Vasquez when he had his high moments. Obviously, a little frustrated with him at times, but
he's a confident player, and he's not afraid of the big moments at the end of games, like we saw in that game 1 against the Wizards, how he hit that shot that sent the game to overtime.
Oh, that was huge, and he nailed that. He pulled off one of the best shimmies in NBA history.
And that's another thing I was getting sick and tired of. He would basically make a shot like mid-game and act like it was a game winner.
And now, next up, that Toronto needs to get rid of. And honestly, I'm agreeing with you on this one, with your thoughts about, you know how I'm going to say, Terrence Ross. We need to get rid of Terrence Ross. Do you think that's a high priority item on the offseason list for the Raptors?
I think if the Raptors were to go after a guy like Danny Green, then you have no other choice but to trade Terrence Ross.
If we got Danny Green and got rid of Terrence Ross, I would be very happy.
Basically, Danny Green is what Terrence Ross should be. A 3-and-D player. And he does really well at that. And if the Raptors can get Danny Green, then so long. Even like Tobias Harris, they can get him. He's another player from the Orlando Magic who's built up quite a resume. He's a scoring small forward, and he's gonna demand the max. Some teams can offer him that. Like, I don't know who. It could be the Raptors. It could be the Pistons. But some team's gonna offer Tobias Harris the max.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But you were saying Danny Green is the player that Terrence Ross should be. And you've pointed this out so many times to me, and then I've noticed it more and more after you've pointed these things out. But Terrence Ross just seems, I don't know the guy personally, but he just seems unmotivated. He seems like one of those players that makes his money and doesn't really care.
Yeah, like I said before, it seems like he cares more about the NBA lifestyle instead of the actual game.
Exactly. Because he barely plays defense. He takes terrible shots, and he's always got his head down. He never seems to be in the game.
Like if I was him right now, I would be in the gym, just trying to add muscle or something, instead of doing what he probably always does, is play NBA 2K15 or whatever he does on social media. He doesn't like the Raptors fans right now just because they call him out on his lack of effort.
Lack of effort. Yeah. Brutal. But who knows? Maybe we'll get rid of him. Maybe he'll turn. If we keep Terrence Ross, maybe he'll turn things around next year. Never know what can happen.
I've also said, and if Terrence Ross doesn't show up in his final year of his rookie contract, then his career in the NBA is in jeopardy.
Yeah, and sayonara. Speaking of rookies, what do you think about Karl Anthony Towns going number 1, of course, in the NBA draft? How do you think he's going to do?
Towns, he may not put up the best stats, but the thing about playing in John Calipari's system in Kentucky is he would play all of his players minimal minutes. So we didn't really get to see what Towns is all about if he plays NBA starter minutes. So the thing is, like, he might not be the rookie of the year. It could go to Okafor or D'Angelo Russell. But Towns has the potential to be the best player in the draft just because how good he is as a center.
Where do you think this draft ranks with the draft of years past and, say the past 10 years or so? Do you think it was a good draft? Do you think there's some talent there this year? I think it's a decent draft.
Oh, I think there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
How Winslow went 10th overall, I don't understand. There's going to be at least 5 teams that pass up on him that are going to regret it.
I was happy that he got drafted, but I thought he was going to go a little bit earlier.
I was praying that the Raptors would somehow trade up and get that Winslow, but
that would have been fantastic.
And he's going to be a Kawhi Leonard and Caron Butler, like a mix of those two guys. The Miami Heat I think they got the steal of the draft, but they also probably got an all-star.
Doesn't surprise me. He's got plenty of talent. He's got tons of potential. A lot of potential in this year's NBA draft. It's going to be a good season.
There was a big surprise at this two spot. Everyone thought the Lakers were going to take Jahlil
Okafor. Yeah.
They ended up taking D'Angelo Russell, who's said to be probably the best player in this draft.
Yep.
I could see him potentially being like a Westbrook kind of player.
I could see that too. Yeah, a quick, fast, scoring point guard. Totally. Now, in this draft, I'm just looking through the results of this year's draft. We've got 2 Canadians, which is a small, in this day and age, that's kind of a small number for guys drafted in the NBA draft. But there is Olivier Hanlon went to the Utah Jazz, and of course Trey Lyles going at number 12 to the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz as well. I was a little disappointed that they went to the Utah Jazz because I'm not a huge fan of the Jazz. So I was like, are you kidding me? The 2 Canadians going to Utah? What is this?
Oh, Utah did pretty well second half of the season.
Oh, they did, but I've never been a huge fan of the Jazz. I don't know why, where that dislike stems from.
I think they drafted 2 Canadians just because the familiarity, the 2 guys being Canadian, so they'll be comfortable being with the organization right away.
Could be.
So in the second round, the Dallas Mavericks had kind of a head scratcher with their pick. They took Satnam Singh Bahamara. I'll just whatever. You can figure it out. A 7'2" center. He's a pretty big guy. But the funny thing is, Dirk Nowitzki said, "So the Mavericks drafted a guy that's slower than me."
Oh, really? Wow. That's a little rude by Dirk.
And the interesting fact about this guy, Satnam, is he's the first Indian-born player to play in the NBA and get drafted.
There you go. History made.
Now, people will probably say Sim Bhullar, but he's actually Canadian. He was born in Brampton.
Yeah, exactly. He's just of Indian descent.
Yeah. So I just want to get that out there for all the Indians that Satnam Singh Bamara is in the NBA.
Well, there you go. Well, congratulations to him. Making history. That's awesome. I was actually, a lot of people were saying the Raptors, I'm happy with DeLon Wright, but what do you think about the Raptors passing up on Montrezl Harrell?
I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, once they traded Vasquez, it was clear that they were going to draft a point guard. And this Wright guy, he just seems the most NBA ready. So
He fits the mold. And, of course, his older brother is Darrell Wright, who's played in the NBA for a few years now. So.
And the Raptors' second-round pick, which they got in the Vasquez trade, the 46th pick, they got Norman Powell.
Yeah, exactly.
Who people are comparing to Tony Allen.
Oh, beautiful.
Pretty awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
He was said to be one of the most athletic players in the draft.
Perfect.
Coming out of UCLA, which always produces a lot of NBA players.
Oh, yeah. No, always. Totally.
So we're probably expecting Powell to be on that Raptors 905 team.
Yeah. You want to talk about Raptors 905? Let's get to this. Toronto Raptors now officially have their own development league team.
Yep.
Pretty
Raptors
big.
905. It's not the greatest name, but that's not really that much matters because the Raptors finally have a team where they can develop their own players.
Exactly, and not just waste guys like Lucas Nogueira or Bruno Caboclo. They, obviously they were associated with other development league teams, but it's awesome that the Raptors finally have their a farm team to call their own. I think the name Raptors 905 is stupid. It's so dumb. I don't know.
The greatest to ask me.
I don't know if it's gonna grow on me, but first impression, when you told me about the name, I thought that is ridiculous. It makes sense, but it's a stupid name. But
they can always change it.
Oh, for sure. Call it something like the pterodactyls or something. Give it the name of another dinosaur.
I was thinking that yesterday. I was thinking pterodactyls would actually be a good name. Like it fits like the Raptors, like dinosaur.
Jurassic Park, totally. Well, you just made a good point. It's not really all about the team name. It's about what the team is going to do for their younger players, like Norman Powell, Lucas Nogueira, and Bruno Caboclo. So
Bruno had a couple stints on the NBDL team last year.
Yeah.
And he wasn't getting the playing time because that team actually wanted to win. And now that the Raptors have an NBL team to their own, Bruno can do whatever he wants. He can play 40 minutes a game, jack up 30 shots.
Oh, it's fantastic. We're finally gonna be able to see the full-fledged Brazilian Kevin Durant. I'm gonna have to make the trek back to Ontario so we could watch some Raptors 905 games.
Yep.
And it's we've talked about the National Basketball League of Canada, and of course Raptors creating their development league playing out of the Hershey Center in Mississauga has a big impact on the National Basketball League of Canada because I didn't find this out until later, but with the Raptors 905, they've actually acquired the Mississauga Power of the National Basketball League of Canada. So that means the Mississauga Power team, I've got a chance to go to so many of their games, a great time, Mississauga Power games and Brampton A's games. But the Mississauga Power are no more. They're out of the National Basketball League of Canada. Unfortunate, but this was a good point that was brought up to me by Audley Stevenson, our good buddy, the Odd Man, of course, and he said that this is just a great partnership opportunity for the National Basketball League of Canada to work with the NBA. So this is huge for the NBLC and huge for Canada basketball, really, to have an NBA development league team in Mississauga. This is a big move. It's awesome.
It's a big step for Canadian basketball and the Raptors franchise in general.
Totally. I think at first I was a little shocked, a little upset that Mississauga Power were no more, but when Audley brought that point up to me, I thought, hey, yeah, this is a sign of a very bright future. Canadian basketball has grown so much in the past 5-10 years even. But this is just another step forward into that bright future for Canada basketball and the National Basketball League of Canada and all things Canadian basketball. It's awesome.
Canada basketball just keeps growing.
It's fantastic to see. I love it. This is a story you have to share. Talking about the Raptors big men, Tall Money, Amir Johnson, and the Nard Dogg are now the best of friends. Tell us this story, David.
Well, I recently took a trip to California and Las Vegas, and I was staying at the Trump Tower. And as I was walking into the Trump Tower, I see a fellow Raptor by the name of Amir Johnson, and he's with his girlfriend. So I was pretty stunned. I didn't know what to say, so I just blurted out, "Amir Johnson," and Amir's like, "Yo, what up, bro?" And then he gives me a fist pump. And then, I don't know, we just seemed like such good buddies. And then...
You went out for a couple of drinks, went surfing?
I wish, but... Yeah, I said I'm from Toronto, and then he's just like, "Yo, T-Dot represent. Love that city." And then that was that, but it's still an awesome story.
No, that's a really cool experience. That's something you're never going to forget. I got to say, I am a little jealous.
He's such a friendly guy.
I can imagine. Amir Johnson seems like such a cool guy.
And if his tenure's up in Toronto and he signs elsewhere this offseason, then best of luck to him, because he's been an awesome ambassador for the city of Toronto.
Totally. I would have no bad feelings towards Amir Johnson. In my opinion, he's this generation's junkyard dog, Jerome Williams. Just that toughness. He loves the community, loves interacting with fans. Amir Johnson, I hope he stays in Toronto, but like you said, if he signs elsewhere, good luck to him.
Really good guy.
Totally. And on that note, Nard Dogg, you're a great guy too, and working...
I'm quite the guy.
You sure are, my friend. Where can people interact with you online? You get Twitter, Instagram. I don't know. I don't even need to pretend. I don't know why I'm asking you if you have Twitter and Instagram. I know you do. Where can people find you online, Nard Dogg?
You can find me at it's actually a new handle. It's David _ Bernardi7.
And that's on Twitter?
And Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram. The only reason I ask is because you seem to change your handles every week, so I just want to keep everybody in the loop of what you're up to. And of course, you can find me at JustinGoulet21 on both Instagram and Twitter. And don't worry, I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. The Nard Dogg just likes to keep you guys on your toes, so...
That's just how I do.
It's the way it goes. That's the Nard Dogg way.
Just having a time.
Any final words?
Let's just pray that next time we do a full court press that LaMarcus Aldridge is a Raptor.
We'll keep our fingers crossed, that's for sure. For the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi, it's Justin Raindrops Goulet, and this has been Full Court Press. Until next time, we're out.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops Goulet.